James Carter, a polished businessman in his prime, strode into the cabin of Flight 182 with the self-assured air of one who believed success was written on his tailored suit and embossed briefcase. In that sleek, humming metal bird journeying from Dallas to New York, he carried an unspoken conviction that a mere glance could reveal another's true worth. As he navigated the narrow aisle with eyes sharp as knives, his gaze dissected each face until it landed on an unexpected figure. There, at his designated window seat, sat a young man clad in military attire, his digital reverie unbroken as he scrolled quietly through his phone. What twist of fate would make this stranger the pivot of his day? Without warning, James's expression contorted into a sneer, and under his breath he muttered a disparaging remark while forcefully tucking his briefcase into the overhead bin. With deliberate reluctance, he sank into his seat, punctuating his displeasure with an exaggerated sigh meant for all to hear. The soldier, a man marked Williams on his badge, offered a courteous "good afternoon, sir" that barely trembled the heavy air. Ignoring the kindness, James feigned focus on an urgent email while leaning in conspiratorially as a flight attendant glided by. In a tone heavy with disdain, he whispered for nearby ears, "One would think they have standards for who climbs aboard these vessels." A ripple of unease passed among the passengers. Yet, despite the sting of his words, Williams adjusted his uniform and returned to his digital haven, his calm unbroken. Could a single comment shatter a man's resolve, or ignite something unforeseen? The tension escalated when James, emboldened by his own vitriol, prodded further, his sarcasm sharp as shattered glass. "Tell me, is that uniform for show, or do you actually do something?" A hushed murmur of disquiet stirred behind him as even a would-be intervener hesitated in silent conflict. Drawing a deep, measured breath, Williams met his critic's glare with quiet dignity and replied, "Sir, I serve this country so that you might enjoy the freedom, even if you choose to waste it on insults." James's dismissive scoff followed, "Your country? People like you are more a liability than an asset. I'd wager you joined only because you had no alternative." A flight attendant, sensing the electric tension, inquired softly if all was well. With a smirk, James offered, "Oh, just a little banter," while Williams's tight-lipped nod concealed a storm of hurt beneath his calm exterior. As the aircraft ascended into endless blue, James's passive barbs persisted, yet Williams gazed out the window into distant memories, unaware that this fleeting clash would soon come back to haunt him. What reckoning awaited beyond the clouds? That very night, in a modest Manhattan hotel room, James awoke from a troubled sleep with remorse lingering like a bitter aftertaste. Clutching a steaming cup of coffee, he idly flipped through channels until a headline, a spark in the darkness, captured his full attention: "National Hero Saves Lives Abroad." Leaning forward, he listened as the broadcast unfolded the tale of Sergeant Marcus Williams, a decorated soldier whose valor in a perilous overseas ambush had rescued helpless civilians from the jaws of death. The familiar face on screen was the very man he had scorned mere hours before. The news recounted how, amid a barrage of enemy fire, this young hero had led a group to safety and was to be honored with a prestigious Medal of Valor in a ceremony scheduled for that week. Shock and shame collided within him as every harsh word he'd uttered replayed with brutal clarity. How could one be so blinded by arrogance that they failed to see true courage? What price must pride pay when confronted with undeniable truth? Haunted by his own reflection in that televised act of bravery, James resolved to face the consequences of his callousness. By dusk, he had decided to attend the upcoming medal ceremony, determined to seek forgiveness in person. In an elegant hall nestled in New York City, he arrived early, an outlier amid a gathering of proud military families and honorees. When Williams emerged on stage, his uniform immaculate, his medal gleaming like a beacon of honor, the crowd erupted in heartfelt applause. In that moment, admiration and regret warred within James's chest as he witnessed a living testament to valor, the man he had so carelessly belittled. What redemption might be found in the echo of applause? After the ceremony's crescendo, amidst the swirl of congratulatory voices, James advanced cautiously toward Williams. Their eyes locked in a silent exchange heavy with unspoken apologies. With a tremor in his voice, James ventured, "I'm not sure if you remember me, we shared a flight yesterday." Without a flicker of judgment, Williams simply replied, "I remember." Emboldened, James continued, "I owe you an apology. I was rude, disrespectful, and utterly out of line." For a suspended heartbeat, the room held its breath as Williams regarded him, then offered a quiet smile and extended his hand. "Your apology is accepted," he said plainly, "and thank you for your service. We all falter, Mr. Carter. What matters is that we learn and grow." In that tender handshake, a weight lifted from James's soul, promising a future unburdened by prejudice. As he stepped away into the cool New York night, a serene peace settled over him, a promise that his newfound humility would forever illuminate the dark corners of his past. And as the city lights shimmered like distant stars, one final question lingered: what might one discover when arrogance finally meets atonement?